today. And today, we're going to be talking about the importance of consistency and a strategy instead of just kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping that something works and hoping finally that our ship will come in and everything will work out. Instead, showing up every day, doing what it takes, having a long-term strategy and staying consistent and actually reaping all of the amazing results that being consistent can bring you. And that's why I'm so excited to welcome a very, very special client of mine, a very special guest of mine, Mr. Rocky Garza. He's going to come on and share with us a little bit about his experience, about working with us, what that looks like, his success. And I want to do a proper quick introduction of Rocky because he stands out so much. He is so amazing. Rocky is a nationally recognized leadership coach and keynote speaker and executive advisor with over a decade of experience guiding high-performing teams and Fortune 500 executives. Rocky is trusted by top organizations to ignite culture shifts rooted in
working with us, what that looks like,
alignment, and
success.
Impact. So excited to bring Rocky on today. Hey, Rocky, how is it going?
It is wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. It's good to see you.
Yeah, thanks for taking a few minutes today. Sure appreciate you there, Rocky. So let me ask you a couple of questions. First of all, anything else you want to add about what you do? Or how was that intro for you there, Rocky?
I mean, I think from now on, I'm just going to take you with me. Wherever I go, I just want you to say that it was perfect. I'll take all of it.
That would be a pleasure, going around with you and being inspired by you all day long. So that would be a lot of fun. But let's hop back about a year and a half ago when we started working together. Can you just kind of describe a little bit about what or how was that intro looked like before we started working together?
Yeah, I think even what you were saying earlier really resonated. I wrote even a couple notes, just sort of a little bit of reflection, like sort of stuck on a wheel, making things up, posting the things I thought I needed to be posting so people would like me rather than posting things that was actually going to drive things forward. Really, if I could, squeeze it into a language, my life kind of blew up and I sort of had to start back at zero. And what I mean by that is not that like I didn't have a business and I started one from scratch. It was that I had been doing this for a long time, had a really terrible thing happen in business and sort of had to start back from zero to go, what do you really want to be about? And do you really want to have a business or do you want to go back to sort of living in the lifestyle hamster wheel of you can find a way to generate enough cash to pay your bills, but you're never going to create something that's sustainable or scalable. And I think the way I would see it now is create something that's repeatable. And so 18 months ago, we were let's try it and do it and try it and do it. But it was trial and error, typically more error than success for years and years and years is sort of what it had been like. And I think really 18 months ago, we said, if we're going to do this long term and ultimately not just create impact, but drive revenue, then it has to be something that's sustainable and it has to be something that's systematic. It can't just be based on charisma, personality, and that I think I have a gift that nobody else has, because I think all of us have that gift. However, is it systematized and can somebody else actually use it, or are you just making it up as you go? So I think that was how I felt overwhelmed. What do I do? What do I say? How do I tell people? How do I just lots and lots of questions and very few answers.
I like that. I like that. How did it feel back then trying to solve all this on your own? All the marketing, all the social, all the client acquisition, everything that you were doing. How did that feel?
Oh, I mean, if I were to pull the systematize and can somebody else actually use it, I would. Or you just make it up as you go. So I think that was how it was never ending. There was like no brain space to like be thoughtful and intentional and creative with the gift that I had been given. Instead, I was forever trying to figure something out, try it a new way, not work, tried a different way. I was exhausted. I was tired. Use it, or you just make it up as you go. So I think that was how we're going to work. Surely it can't be like this forever. There's got to be. I'm looking around, going like, no. Does anybody resonate with my message? Am I even saying the message? Am I trying to solve problems, or am I out here just trying to be cool? How do I mean, those are overwhelmed was the thing, because there were so many sort of emotions that were going against one another that weren't actually driving me in any clear direction.
Yeah. Can you tell me what was it that made you decide that it was actually time to make a change and to jump in and work with us?
Yeah. Yes. I attended an event just like this one. And I think the word, even though this is not going to be a sexy word, but the fact that there was a systematic approach to take something that for me feels so natural and so instinctual that somebody else could actually absorb it. I had never had that. I never had a systematic approach. It was always the way I thought I was supposed to be doing it, the way I've always done it, the way that was, but there was no system. There was no system to content. There was no system to our business. There was no system to our product. There was no system to sales. There was no system to follow up. There was no, I mean, and I think most of us, or I shouldn't say that, I thought there was. I think that was the problem, as I thought there was, until I could see a system and you and your team presented it for the first time. And then I realized, wait a second, I think I've kind of just been making this up as I go. Like, I don't think I have a system at all. And then I think the ability to be able to recognize what you all were doing, my life and my business has radically, and that's not me being exaggerative at all, has radically transformed in the last 18 months. And the ability for me and my team to say yes to you and your team was that there was a proven system that wasn't about being fancy or flowery or trying to get someone to think that you are cool enough to like or follow you. It was that you found a systematic way to get people who actually needed the help that you could offer for a price that actually allowed your business to be profitable.
I love that. I love that. Can you kind of describe what your business looks like now, Rocky?
Oh, it's very, yeah, I can. It's much more exciting to talk about now than it was 18 months ago. So I spend a chunk of my time as a professional keynote speaker. And so for example, in 2025, this year, we've got about 42 events, both nationally. So we're traveling to go speak and or locally that we're doing. So I spend about half my time doing that, speaking around clarity of who we are, the things you believe about yourself, how to create organizational structure, and really trying to close the gap between the inherent value that a person has that they're able to bring to their job, to their role, in order to make their company scalable. I have a completely full, and that's not an exaggeration. I literally currently can take on no additional one-on-one VIP clients. And so I have 10 clients that I coach one-on-one. And then we have a leadership development program called the Path to Proactive Leadership that we've collectively, and I say we as in everyone on this call, have built together over the course of the last 6 to 9 months, various iterations. I think this is the 3rd iteration of this program. And so I say that because I think it's really important. I thought in the beginning we could find one and it would be that forever. I've come to find out that a really successful business as a coach and a consultant is that you create something, you use the best parts of that framework, you iterate it into the next version of what it's going to be, both in relationship to the business you want to create and in the relationship to what the market actually will bear. But you have to be able to kind of hold the tension between both of those. I think that's one thing you guys have helped us with immensely, is making sure we're always holding the tension between what does the market want, but what do we actually care about, and doing that together. And so we've got 25 people in our group program. And then we have 3 organizations that we have annual retainers with that we coach, consult, take all those programs, but roll that together into a consulting program that we do with 3 really large organizations. And I think it's really fun to sit back. Our team had this conversation yesterday that we coach leaders in organizations that collectively do over $2 billion in annual revenue. Based on the leadership teams that we do. And I say that because if you're listening, 18 months ago, I had 0 revenue, and I had 0 clients, and I had 0 programs, and I had 0 group program, and I had 0 consulting clients. So in 18 months, from zero, real $0 into everything that I just described is a very, very short amount of time. And it is impossible for us to have gotten there without the support of you and your team.
Wow. Wow, Rocky. So how do you feel now compared to before?
I mean, I can breathe. I got
Look at
I
you.
got a
Yeah.
good microphone. You know, I think, I feel as though I think the question early on was posed right before this, or as this was starting, if you could make sure that your content was aligned to doing the thing that you want, which of those A, B, C, or D would you choose? I feel today like I can choose all 4. That I can spend time with my family and my wife and my kids, and I can coach my kids' baseball and teams and go to gymnastics and help with cheerleading. I can spend time with my wife. I can care for my family. I can spend more focused, dedicated time on my clients and less doing things I shouldn't be doing, but doing the things only I can be doing. And I think generating new ideas about what's possible and where do we go and what exists. And I think even the way our business has evolved has given way that every day, every week, every month, every quarter sort of builds and builds more and more, driving towards that end that allows every person on our team to do the thing that only they can be doing.
I love that. I love that. Can you speak to social media in particular, like kind of how you felt about social media, now how you use it really more strategically? Yeah. Can you kind of speak to that?
Yeah, I think initially I felt like social media was designed so that I could get people to like me, because if I could convince you to like me, then I could convince you to pay me. And let me tell you what, that is incorrect. And so I think for a decade, right? Like I'm 42. I had a creative business prior to this one, 15 years ago. I got on Instagram when it came out. Shout out to those of us who were around before it existed. Like I've been on social for a long time. I've been posting daily on platforms for a long time with really to no avail other than, and the sort of the phrase I tell myself is, how much energy am I maybe a question I should pose. I pose to myself, but if you're listening, I would pose to you. How much more energy are you willing to exert trying to convince people that to like you rather than trying to communicate the value that you bring in the problem you solve for the right person? And I thought if I could just get more people to like me, ooh, that's the ticket. Then they'll trust me because look how many followers I have. Look how much engagement I have. Except the people that were engaging were people who were never going to swipe their card, didn't have the problems I was solving. They just thought that I had a really fun message that made them feel good. But I don't know about you, but I can't pay my mortgage with good feelings. So I think that's like the transition to think about content before versus now. The content now has a purpose. We're speaking to a specific person and or persons that we're solving a specific problem. And if you enjoy that, guess what? It converts. Now we're not looking for let's go get more followers so that we'll feel good at night when we're laying in our bed and we think we have a lot of notifications. Why don't we go attract the kind of people so that they're responding and engaging so they fall into the flow in the system that we have so we can actually help them solve the problem that they really have. And so I think the ability to sort of remove content from the idea that it's my way to go show the world that I'm fancy rather than saying, hey, the content is a way for me to go show the world that I solve a problem that you have. But if you can speak to that, then content no longer feels overwhelming because I have a message to a person that converts to get you to solve the problem that we have. And I think having that, I'm messing up the Lindsay Anderson formula a little bit, but like thinking through content that converts, like there's a systematic approach. You don't have to be tired enough to make it up. Follow the system, work the system. But most of us forget that if you want something to change, then you have to change. And that requires that you admit that you're at a place that maybe it's not doing what you want and you want it to do something different.
So good, Rocky. Thank you. Thank you. What would you say to somebody who's considering working with us but hasn't quite pulled the trigger yet?
Yeah. I think I would ask yourself this question. How much longer are you willing to convince yourself that you can do it by yourself, considering the fact that it hasn't worked? And at some point, you have to be willing to admit, I'm good at something. Maybe what I'm not great at is the part I've been trying to fix that has not yielded a different result. As simple as it sounds, if you want something different, do something different. Not just for the sake of different, not just like trial reels because someone told you that would increase your engagement. That's not what I mean by different. I mean a thoughtful, systematic approach. And so if you're today listening and you're thinking, should I, can I, is it worth it? Could I afford it? Does it make sense? I'm not sure. You showed up today because you took a risk on yourself that you said, I believe there's something that needs to be different in my business. And if that's the case, I think you have to be willing to ask yourself the question, are you willing to do that different thing as somebody, whether revenue is important to you as a listener or not, as somebody who started 18 months ago and was driving zero revenue to today that we're driving consistently between $50,000 and $70,000 of reoccurring monthly revenue in an 18-month period. That's not by happen chance. And it's not because I tried the trial version of Reels to see if I could get more followers. That's because we said we're going to do something different and utilize a system that allows us to build a sustainable business. And if that's where you want your life to go, then I would strongly encourage you to make a decision and choose this team.
I love it. I love it. Rocky, thank you so much for joining me today. Really, really appreciate you as a client and taking your time today. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much.
All right, everybody, we will let Rocky get back to his work. Thank you so much for your time there, Rocky. Let's get back to the training now. If you guys like that, say yes in the comments. We're live also over here on Instagram and not Instagram, but LinkedIn and all of the other social networks. So excited. So let's hop into today's training because we do have a training to do today, and it is all about finding my notes so that I am guiding you in the right way. It is all about the secret to showing up consistently, even when you are booked out and busy. So how do you keep the content going? How do you keep going even if you are booked out? Today, I'm going to be giving you those secrets. But before we hop into that, I want to remind you that right now, applications are certainly open to hop on that lead attraction strategy session with you. If what we've talked about this week has made you say, Lindsay, I don't want to do this alone. I'm sick of just struggling with social media and I want some help. And I want to know if you and your team are going to be able to be the people that can help me. Certainly, you want to hop on that phone call with myself and my team. Emily's going to go ahead and drop the application. I've already talked to so many of you. I love talking with business owners like you to kind of see where you're at, to see what you're struggling with, and to add some real clarity. So that's exactly what this call is. This call is just not like a generic call where we're going to get on and kind of like just vaguely talk. But you've heard from many people, and if you've been watching the testimonials out there on social media, you know you've heard people say that even just the call is mind blowing, because we are going to be doing, if you book a call here to see if we're like a good match to work together and to be able to help you with this social media attraction system that we have built, that we built for Rocky, that we've built for so many others before. We're going to audit what is working and what's costing you visibility on leads. You're going to leave this call with crystal clear clarity on exactly what is happening for you on there. We're going to define your one true client and your core message. This is more than just demographics. This is really understanding who that one true client is, so you can show up on social media and be talking to that one true client, that person that is saying on the other side, how did you know, Lindsay? It felt like you were talking directly to me. And then finally, we're going to be mapping out a 90-day visibility engine for you and your business. Now is the time to start. By the time you start now, the momentum engine that we've been talking about so much this week will be up and running, will be going, so that you can start really getting those dividends of your consistent content and your consistent visibility paying off as summer and the fall approach. And the time is now. As they say, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second is now. The same goes for social media. The best time to be consistent and to really dedicate yourself to consistency is now. And your first next step is to hop on a visibility attraction session with me. That is with me. Hop on and let's have that call. But let's hop into today's content. We're gonna do a quick review of what we've covered the days, because we've sewed this all together. Okay, everything that we've worked on over the last week, we are going to sew it together now. So on day one, we certainly talked about your one true client and making sure that you have positioning that converts. Okay, most people stop at demographics. I shared with you, it's more than demographics. That's where people stop. You have to have empathy and operational niching in order to actually make this happen. Empathy, the words that people are using, and operational. You don't want to be in charge of social media, okay, the whole time. You want to be able to hand that off to a team like mine so that you can post content that actually attracts cookie cutter versions of your one true client. And that is exactly how you want to be showing up on social media. This is so important. It is advanced. This is what we do every day with our customers. Every time I talk to Rocky, we talk about his ideal client. We talk about his one true client. We get in their head so that he can have operational efficiencies where he's not always posting on social media. On day two, we talked about metrics that matter. Rocky also hit on this very important point, which is most people are chasing likes and views. And that is not full of people that will buy from you. I remember very early on in our work with Rocky, one of his videos went viral. And he was like, what can I do about this? I'm so excited. And because of our knowledge, it was like, they're not buyers, but we're so pulled towards that's what we want to chase. But ultimately, you want to set yourself up with a visibility dashboard. And that's what we do for our clients, that tracks profile views, because if no one's landing on your profile, they can't move forward. We want to talk about DMs and replies, because conversations lead to customers. And finally, sales conversations. How many conversations are you actually having? Because the more conversations, the more you will convert. Day three, we talked about the importance of visibility compounding. We looked at the entire path from content to client, and it is all built on making sure you are consistent, from content to consistency to recognition, to trust, to lead, to sales. And it goes round and round in a circle. One viral post will not build your business. What will? A system, a cycle, a repeatable rhythm that builds trust every time you show up. Content that speaks to the one true client and gets you seen in front of the right people. Consistency that makes you recognizable so that people know who you are and you build that trust. And finally, recognition that turns that trust into leads. And then once you actually have that recognition and trust, then you can actually make sales. So it's a compounding thing. It's not a one-off thing. It's not one post, it's 50 posts all together. And that's why consistency is so important. Yesterday, we talked about your silent sales team. What is actually working to sell you and your services while you sleep, while you're at the beach, while you're at the pool. So setting up your profiles to make sure that you are building authority, that you look like an expert, that when people look at your profile, it is very clear what you do. We also talk about the VEMS model. This is how you want to be covering your content, not just skills, not just, hey, here's a quick tip. That's not enough to build trust. What you need going into social media to build that trust is your vibe, your experience, your methodology, and your skills. And today we're going to bring that home with the secret to showing up consistently, even when you are booked and busy. So even the best system will not work if you disappear. And I would argue that you wouldn't even have a system at that point. And today we're going to be solving one of the biggest problems that social media, that people have with social media. And that is, I got a slide for that, guys, the number one momentum killer. It is inconsistency. Because here's the facts, is that most business owners, they don't fall short because they lack talent. They don't fall short because they lack the motivation or the pure want of wanting to do this on social media. Most business owners really fall short for one of three reasons. And if you see yourself in this, please know that this is an endless cycle, that this will always come back. Like I have business owners that I've talked to last year that wishes they would have signed up with me last year. And now here we are, they've lost a year of momentum, but they know they cannot get unstuck from these three momentum killers. Let's go over them. Number one, they're trying to do it all alone. And as you know, I always like to empower people to do things, okay? And I like to teach you and like tell you how to do it. But ultimately, social media is complicated, okay? In terms of what do I post? How often do I post? How do I get it on there? What am I saying? Who's my one true client? How do I look good on camera? What does my background say about me? Like there is a lot of moving parts. We feel like it's just pulling up your phone and just talking at the phone and then hitting post. But for a real business owner, it is a lot more than that. And I would say you cannot do it alone and serve your clients. This is not where you should be spending your time, is posting on social media. Yes, you need to be on social media, but should you be doing that on your own? I would say no, you should not. Most business owners, and you heard Rocky say this, they're overwhelmed and they're guessing. You're guessing what to post. You're hoping that this one goes viral. You're hoping that one day your ship will come in and people will actually buy from you. But ultimately, being overwhelmed and guessing, you'll never get to where you're going. You need a strategic path. You need a strategy going ahead that even on the days that it doesn't feel like it's working, it's still posting. And it's the consistency that will actually make you a winner. And then finally, content is the first thing to go. Really understanding this principle that yes, you're excited, and it's the same reason why gyms are full in January and empty in March, is because you get really excited, you post, maybe you even do batch out some of your content, but the second life gets in the way, the second a fire comes up for one of your clients, the second you get sick or a kid or a dog or whatever, content will always be the first thing to go. And it is very unfortunate situation because then you lose consistency and you lose all of the momentum you built, both in the eyes of the algorithms that are really going to favor you if you're consistent over a long period of time. And they start pulling back if you only popcorn post every once in a while. So having a consistent content system, regardless of how you feel, it's essential to make social media work. Not only that, but your customers on the other side, if they kind of see you for a couple months or when you're launching and then you disappear, you're not building that trust. You're not building that recognition. That'd be like seeing that Geico commercial once a year. That's not going to build trust. The reason why we trust a little lizard with our insurance is because we see him all the time on TV. So the same goes for social media. It's you're showing up, you're on social media. That is how it works. And the answer, really understanding this, is that without a plan, you'll have no consistency. That's just the facts. It's not the sexiest thing I've ever said. It's not the most motivating thing I've ever said. But if you do not have a plan, you will not be consistent. Like, I don't even care who you are. If you're super Mr. Consistency, you will not be able to make this work. And instead is what you need is a system so that you can have sustainable growth going in. And so what you don't need more of is more hacks, more motivation, more willpower. You need a visibility plan that fits your life and holds when you're at capacity, that you don't have to worry about. Rocky, he mentioned he's on 42 stages a year. He has, he's at max capacity for one-on-one clients. He also has a very budding and amazing growing group coaching program with 25 people in it. Rocky does not have time, nor should he have time to post on social media. And the thing is, you want to be showing up in a rhythm. You want to be reliable. You want to be present every single day out there on social. Social media is getting really competitive. And so popcorn posting, that's really kind of shining a light on how you view your business. If you're a real business owner, you want to drive real leads, you really want to be showing up on social media 5 days a week. You are open for 5 days a week. You need to be showing up on social media at a minimum 5 days a week. So how do we do that? How do we do that? It seems overwhelming. It seems like a whole other part-time job, but the key is really batching. And so what you're going to want to do is choose 3 or 4 video topics, okay? And again, you want those to be VEMS, vibe, experience, methodology, and skills. Then you want to record 3 of those videos back to back in one sitting session. You can't be doing this every day. You want to be doing it once a month. And then you want to make sure that those are scheduled out and not posting every day. It is much too time consuming. That's the visibility system that we offer within our programs, our programs. And this is what it looks like to work with us. We've talked about this before. You're going to have 1 monthly strategy session with us because we're not just posting on social media and hoping that it works. We're actually working with you once a month strategically. Okay, we're posting content. How do we actually turn that content into buyers? This is way different than just having a VA or somebody post your content. We're actually getting real results because we're meeting with you once a month on a strategy session. We then also have a once a month recording session where I interview you. Super simple. You'll see some interviews out there on social media that I did with my clients this morning. They say it's super simple. They say they just show up and talk into their expertise. It is super easy to create the content that is required to actually convert clients on social media. And then finally, our team will repurpose all of that for you without you having to actually lift a finger. And so this really requires a couple of hours from you a month strategically, 1 recording session, and then our team repurposes it all. And then you're showing up on 3 to 4 platforms without even lifting a finger. And that's exactly how our done for you clients stay visible even when their calendar is maxed out. This is really how it's done. Whether or not you hire our company to do it or you do it yourself, batching in this way really is the only answer. And so I invite you, if you're thinking, Lindsay, I want to know what it looks like to work with you, make sure that you hop on a application to get on a lead attraction strategy session with me. Let's see if we're a good fit to work together. Let's see if we can't help you build the visibility that your business deserves. Now, let me come back to a key idea here. Visibility compounds. You can't give up after a month. That's why we do require a 3-month commitment with our clients. We're only interested in working with people who are really serious about social media, serious about building real visibility on social, and benefiting from the consistency that is out there on social media. And understand that trust is built through repetition. Repetition alone is what's going to bring you clients on social media, and sales on social and sales from everywhere comes from a strategic ongoing presence. The fact is, most people stop on social media way too soon, before they even can benefit from what they have been posting. They measure impact much too early. They post for 2 weeks and wonder where the clients are. And as I said, I just tell you the truth. I would love to tell you can get clients the next day if you post this one post. But anybody who's telling you that, it's not facts. You need to be in this for the long haul and understand that being visible is actually what leads to results. So today and at the end of this workshop, and I've really appreciated connecting with everybody who has attended this workshop, everybody who's joined us on social media, who has reached out, who've gotten on the lead visibility strategy sessions with me. I love giving these workshops because I like sharing with you the facts and the truth about what social media for small business owners really is. And so today is a real opportunity. It can be the opportunity from going from being inspired by me, which many of you are, you've mentioned it, like, aha, Lindsay, I've never knew this about social media. Everything finally clicked for me, to actually implementing. There's a big chasm there, and I highly recommend that you cross the bridge. Because as I talked about today, doing this alone, figuring out all the moving parts, making sure that it's posted, it is a full-time job for you. And you need to look at yourself and look at your business and understand that there are much better ways to spend your time. Also know that momentum, okay? Momentum is everything here, and we can help you with that. We can help you not be in your head and actually post on social media, and know that showing up on social is a way of actually scaling up your business. It helps in every area of your business. It will produce sales on its own, and organic social media is really going into 2025. It really is the best way to generate high ticket clients for those service-based business owners. And so over the course of our time together, and again, really appreciate everybody for joining me. One more time on the lead attraction strategy session, all you need to do is go to lindsayaa.com/attract. Let's get on a call. Let's clarify this for you, what it might look like for us to work together, and just take action. Take action on that call. So in this whole workshop, we've covered a lot. We've covered how to create visibility. We've covered how to build trust. We've covered, one second here. We've covered how to spark conversations. And now it's time to really dedicate yourself to that. And today I taught you, it's not just about consistency, it's about integration. What makes visibility actually stick, how to do that, what it really takes to build that visibility engine. So before I let you go, please book that lead attraction strategy session. It's a visibility breakthrough for service-based business owners who are ready to get seen consistently by the right people, to stop guessing what to post every week, and to finally put a system in place that creates leads on autopilot. And if you book this strategy session with me, we're going to cover your current strategy. We're going to cover how to define your one true client and your message. And we're going to map out those first 90 days and what that would look like working with myself and my team. And if it's a fit for us to work together, well, I'll walk you through exactly how our done-for-you social media visibility system works, so your content can finally start doing the heavy lifting for you. So we'll drop the link one more time, lindsayaa.com/apply, because here's what I know. Here's what I know about social media. When your visibility is powered by a system and not just willpower, you will stop burning out. Just like Rocky, you'll stop winging it, and you'll finally create consistent, qualified leads without all of the hustle. We can make this a new normal for you and your business. Let's build your system together. All you need to do is hop on that lead attraction strategy session and let's have a talk. Let's have a look about what this looks like for you and your business. Thank you so much for joining me for the Social Media Sales Machine Workshop. I really appreciate everybody who has reached out, and I look forward to seeing you on the lead attraction strategy session. Now I will turn the time back over to my awesome team.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Thanks, Lindsay. Thank you to everyone for joining us. Big thank you to Rocky for joining us at the top of this session as well. Absolutely inspiring. So make sure that you apply for that lead attraction strategy session with Lindsay. So go ahead and click the link. Emily is going to drop a link over in the chat there. Make sure you get that set up. The spots have been going pretty quickly. So if you click and you see that there isn't a spot that fits for you, just let us know and we will switch things around and we will make it work. Absolutely. The application, it shouldn't take you too long to fill out. I would say probably about 3 minutes. There's a question at the end that might take you a little bit longer, but overall, it doesn't take you a super long time to fill out. So go ahead and take that step and get that conversation going so that way you really do have the pieces that you need to build that machine that you need for your business.
Absolutely. So if you have, excuse me, any other questions, send us a DM, send us an email, hit reply on any of the emails that are going out. We are here and happy to help. Reminder that those replays are up until Tuesday at midnight Pacific. So make sure, we're going to drop that link there in the chat. Again, make sure that you take the time to watch those replays this weekend. And again, as you're watching those this weekend, reach out with any questions that you have. We are here and happy to help. Make sure that you grab that lead attraction strategy session there out of the chat. Shauna's going to drop that link one more time. Make sure that you go ahead and book that and certainly reach out again if you have any questions or need to look at additional availability for those sessions. Thank you all very much for joining us. Have a great weekend, and we'll be here through Tuesday to support you.